and welcome to the Gospel according to Kinison, and this is your man, the man, your illustrious host, Bill Kinison. And I'm so excited to be here with you this morning. And Sherry, we actually had two Thanksgivings. We had one a week ago Friday, because Scarlett had to go to California, and then we had one on Thanksgiving with Ginger and Devin and Finnegan and us at a beautiful restaurant. We had a great Thanksgiving.
Good morning, Don and Cheryl. Morning.
Good morning to them, and God bless them.
Good morning, Jack Friedman.
Jack Friedman.
And Joe Sumter.
And Joe Sumter, my buddy.
Yes, and Carolyn.
Didn't you say he was at another RV park?
He was last weekend.
I don't even want to know about it.
Yeah, he was.
I don't even want to know about it. If I can't go and be part of it, I don't want to know it.
Okay, you're not going to go be part of it.
No, I don't think. You know, you and I have owned, 3 RVs, I guess? You never liked any of them.
We lived in one for a year.
Well, we were traveling evangelists.
Yes.
And we had this great idea. But it was one of the best RVs back in those days. As an executive.
Good morning, good afternoon, Jeff McLaughlin.
Yeah, don't worry about me giving my story.
Sharon Stein, good morning.
And I don't think it's Jack McLaughlin, I think it's Jeff.
I said Jeff.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said Jack.
No, Jeff. And Sharon Stein, good morning.
We miss Sharon Stein, and her mother transitioned, and our prayers were extended to her. And I don't care what the situation is, that's never easy. It never is easy. We can talk about how great it is to transition. It's never easy to let go of them on this earth. And so God bless you, Sharon. We're still praying for you.
Jerry Nicholson, good morning.
And Jerry, I love Jerry. You know what, Jerry? He'll just send me messages just to see how we're doing. And it seems like it's always just the right time. And I hope they said they had a great Thanksgiving. And God, thank you, all of you, I guess hundreds, that sent us Thanksgiving wishes. And Sherry and I were talking. You know, my father told me, and I've told this before, that whenever you get ready to pass, if you can count your friends on more than one hand, you really did good. Sherry, you and I got to sit down and thinking of people that are our friends. Not acquaintances.
No.
But friends from the ministry that watches to this day, of when we were back in the churches and pastoring, to show business, to the theater, and we're blessed.
We are.
We are blessed.
Boston represents. Good morning, Sandra Skursik.
And God loves Sandra, and when you said Boston represents, I already know who you're talking about. Good Catholic lady, by the way.
She is wonderful. Good morning, Jessica Hahn. Haven't seen you for a long time.
I guess it has been a while.
It's been a few years, and
Yeah,
she's doing
right.
great. Danny James, good morning.
Danny James. I still pray for him, and God bless. It looks like he's doing great. And he should somehow figure out how to send us some of the things that he grills and smokes. Because if he's going to put the pictures on there and drive me nuts, he ought to send me some of them.
Stefan Bachhaus, good morning. Hi, everyone.
Now, he's here in Texas, too, isn't he? Didn't he move to Texas also?
I don't know.
I thought he did. I know that he and his wife went, I think, back to France for a vacation and stuff, but I think he lives here in Texas. So we'll have to hook up with him.
Port Folk, he says.
Port Folk, Texas.
Fort Polk.
Never mind. It's in Texas, though.
Fort Polk.
All right. Well, I'm going to assume it's Texas. All right. We need to get into our lesson.
I could talk all day. I could say hi to everyone all day.
Yeah,
Good
you
morning.
almost do.
I do. I love it.
We do have a couple prayer requests. One, our cousin, or Sherry's cousin, that we talk about on our program quite a bit, Paulette, is headed back to the hospital. She had part of a finger amputated, And now she got up this morning, and the other one next to it, I guess, is black.
That's what she said.
And so we want to remember her in prayer and give her a miracle and a healing. Also, Deborah, you talked about her mother.
Oh, Deborah Godina's in Upland.
Well, a lot of times I don't know if they want us giving their last,
okay.
but anyhow. But prayers for her mother, and just prayers. I had a lot, and if we
a lot of unspoken, a lot of unspoken. Yes, we do. Diana Lee, good morning. She says it's beautiful in the Smokies.
Oh yeah, she's up there in Tennessee.
Her
and her family.
Love Tennessee.
She's got a grandson that's in college. I'm trying to think what the college is. But just I had the privilege of meeting, I think it was her daughter. I don't know if I met her son in person when Sam played in Muncie, Indiana. And I had the privilege of meeting Shaylin. And God bless them. They're a great family. I want to get into our message this morning. How are you meeting life? How are you meeting life? Give me a scripture to start with so we feel religious. Proverbs 4:23. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Now our Kinisonism today. Your attitude is the most important thing about you. Your attitude. Your attitude determines your experience. Sure, that's big. Those are two big statements. I know when we just kind of let it roll off our tongue about your attitude, but your attitude is the most important thing about you, of everything about you. That's the most important.
It's not.
And your attitude, pardon?
Not your altitude that determines your aptitude, but your attitude.
Well, you were close. It's not your aptitude that determines your altitude, but it's your attitude.
Okay.
Oh, God. Oh,
Well, that's from years ago. The memory is.
I know I hadn't even thought of that years ago. That would fit in great with this lesson today. See, most people don't realize that their attitude toward life is very important. They don't realize how important that is. And yet it manifests itself continually. But your attitude is very, very, very important. It can make you or it can break you. Your attitude, not somebody else. Not situations. Your attitude can break you or make you. Your attitude determines what your experiences are in life. Your attitude. Your attitude determines how people will respond to you. Your attitude determines if you'll be a success or a failure in life. Your attitude, man, I can't stress enough how important your attitude is. Now, when I talk about attitude, I'm talking about your mental approach to life. Your mental approach to life. Your attitude is your disposition towards yourself, towards other people, and towards things. I want you to observe how your attitude affects your life. When you wake up in the morning, think about it. Do you drag out of bed and moan, "Oh my God, I got another day. I sure hate to have to go to work. I sure hate to have to meet that mean old boss of mine"? Or are you one of those people who say, "Oh, I sure feel bad today. I wish I didn't have to get up. Sure wish I didn't have to get out of the house today"? That's more common than you think. You see, if these are your first thoughts in the morning, your attitude towards life is going to be negative. It's going to get good here in just a few moments. And when you finally do get up and you go out to meet the world, your whole day probably turns out bad. You got to go to work, and your bad attitude makes you grumpy. And that makes your boss even meaner. The next thing you know, he fires you. All because of how you started your day. There's no telling what you'll meet in life if you go out in a negative mood with a negative attitude. It's not going to be good. The people around you, you may not even realize, they may not even realize it, but the people around you sense your attitude. And if it's a bad attitude, they will withdraw from you. Have you ever seen people and you go, I don't know why, I just don't like them. I don't know anything about them. I just don't like them. Well, it's not them that you don't like. It's that attitude that they have. I don't want to be around anybody who is sour any of the time. Not just part of the time, any of the time. Forget about being that way all the time. I just don't want to be around them. I don't want to be around those kind of people. Now, let's see what happens if you turn the negative attitude around. How do you think your day would be if you woke up in the morning and you first thing you said is, this is the day the Lord hath made, rejoice and be glad in it. We have Sherry's mother, Pauline McFadden, and she has Alzheimer's. She's 94 years old. She has Alzheimer's, and we take care of her. It's a 24-hour-a-day job. We have to bathe her. She is incontinent. We have to clean her up. We have to feed her. We have to literally do everything for her. She doesn't know anymore who I am, except I'm the man that lives in the house when she could speak. She doesn't speak much anymore. But she would go, who is he? And she said, Dad, that's a man that lives in the house. Most of the time, she doesn't know who Sherry is. Every once in a while, you'll have a glimmer. And I'll ask her, who is that? And every once in a while, she can barely get it out. She'll go, that's my baby. That's my baby. Every day, we go in and we get her up. And she's almost immobile. We have to literally pick her up out of the bed. But, and Sherry can attest to this, her favorite saying was, when I knew her and she was healthy and full of vinegar and all that kind of stuff, she'd get up in the morning, come in and go, this is the day the Lord hath made, rejoice and be glad in it. And Sherry, we'll go over and we'll get her up off that bed, and while we're doing it, I'll go, Polly, this is the day the Lord hath made, rejoice and be glad in it. Now that's exactly how I do it. And that grin will come to her face. Somehow in that mind that doesn't function very well anymore. But that somehow it brings a memory or it does something to her and a smile comes to her face. You see, that shocks your emotions into the attitude that you want. You may say other things, but that's a good one to start with. This is the day the Lord hath made, rejoice and be glad in it. Now that may be too much for some of you. To shout at yourself the first thing in the morning. First you think you're probably going nuts. So some of you like calmer things. I'm going to give you something calmer here. And every morning when you wake up, start thinking about the plans you have for the day. Say to yourself, I've opened my eyes and I'm going to get up now. I'm going to go out into the world and I will perhaps meet hundreds of people. I'm going to meet them positively and joyfully. I'm going to meet many kinds of conditions, circumstances, and situations, And I'm going to meet each of them equally positive and joyful. I'm going to have a good day. I'm going to have a good day. Try it. Try it and see what happens for you. It'll work. I know it will work for you. I want to give you another Kinisonism. Life is going to meet you today and every day just like you meet life. Let me repeat it and put it on your refrigerator. Life is going to meet you today and every day just like you meet life. In this philosophy, I don't have any better word to use for what we teach, but in this philosophy, we're not dealing with blind faith or dumb luck. This philosophy is a science. Sherry can tell you I love watching sports. Love watching basketball and football and baseball. I have my whole life. I've been an athlete. I've been blessed to play. And I just use basketball as an example. You'll see somebody out of desperation throw it. I watched a highlight the other day, and it was in high school. Now, young man got a rebound, and he threw it to the other end of the floor, and his team was down by one, and right at the buzzer, he threw it the entire length, and it went into the basket. Whoever I was with, might have been my son-in-law, I don't know, but they said, man, that was lucky. And I said, what you call luck happens to those that work it. And I'm not saying that every day he practices throwing it from one end of the floor to throw it in the basket. But I guarantee you, he's out on that basketball floor every day practicing and practicing and practicing. I'm a golfer. And you'll see on TV, you'll see these guys just hit unbelievable putts, 50, 60 feet away. If you gave them 10 more tries, they probably wouldn't, but they make it that time. And people will go, man, that was lucky. No. He has practiced and practiced and practiced. Your attitude. Every day you can meet life knowing if your day is going to be successful or not by asking yourself, how am I going to meet life today? Isn't that simple? Instead of waiting to find out if you're going to have a bad day or a good day, you can control that. You can control that destiny. It is technology for living because it teaches you how to determine the results that you're going to achieve in life. It teaches you how to determine the circumstances and situations in your life. You determine that. How you answer that question, how am I going to meet life today? How you answer that question will determine your day. I got a message from a very, very, very dear friend in Las Vegas. And I think it was his brother-in-law had sent him a message. And he forwarded this message to me and says, I don't know what to tell him. If you could help, I would really appreciate it. I'm going to answer him today. I think I got it Friday. And the young man, I assume a young man, wrote that his wife was gone. His child is gone. I assume that they separated or they left. They split up. And I was reading it and he said, what kind of God would let this happen? First, let me tell you something. God doesn't do bad things to people. We determine our destiny. We do. We do. We determine what happens to us. And we can change. Your attitude can change. If you got bad things going, I don't care what you have around you, forget that. Turn your attitude around and it will change. I remember years ago, first church I ever pastored. So I was probably 19, 20 years old. And it was in Peoria, Illinois. It was actually my parents' church that I had taken over. And I was coming back from somewhere, might have been from seeing Sherry or something. I don't know. But I was coming back and it was late at night. And we had a bridge that went over the Illinois River called the Murray-Baker Bridge. And the traffic was stopped. And the police, I finally got one of the policemen and said, well, what's going on? And they said, we got a man on the bridge that is threatening to kill himself. And so I said, well, I'm a pastor here in Peoria, and would you like me to talk to him? And they said, yeah, anything would help. We're not having any leeway. So I remember I walked out on this bridge, and he's sitting on one of those things ready to jump if he wanted to. And I told him who I was, and he said, I don't believe in God. I said, that's fine. That's fine. There's been times I didn't believe in God. But I said, let me ask you something. Why are you doing this? And it was almost the story that this young man had said to my friend. My wife has left me. I forget how many children he had. She took the kids and she's left me, and I don't want to live anymore. And so I said, well, that's your decision. That's your decision. You can decide if you live or you jump off this bridge and it's quite a ways down to the river. I'm sure you're not going to survive it. But you control your destiny. If you decide to jump in the river, it's over right now. But you control your destiny. You want to see your children grow up, and you want to love your children. You control your destiny. There's no situation that's making you do this. There's no God that's making you do this and is doing this to you. Your decisions have made this, and it's brought you to this point, but you can change it. I went on and told him some other things, and so he said, will you help me down? I was afraid almost all to do that. I was afraid we were both going to go down. But I helped him down, and the police took him into custody. But folks, there is no one to blame. You control your destiny. No one can change your life for the better but you. If you want to improve your experience in life, you must do something positive with your attitude. You must work at how you think. And you have to stop thinking that someone else will come along and change your life for the better for you. You got to quit thinking the government is going to come along and get you out of your mess. No, there is no help. All help is within you, but the good news is that's all the help you need. The God of the universe is inside of you. You are the child of the God of the universe. Man, I know that's a little bitter for some of you to swallow, but in this philosophy that I teach, there are no scapegoats. In this philosophy that I teach, there is no devil to blame. Even though I loved Flip Wilson back in those days, always saying, the devil made me do it. Devil made me do it. Well, there is no devil to blame in the philosophy that I teach. In this philosophy, hang on, you are your own devil. Now, before you shut off the computer and walk away, You're also your own God. Boy, Sherry, I thank God for those that send us Thanksgiving gifts and everything. They should be emptying out their bank account and sending this to us for what we give to them. You are your own devil, and you are your own God, and only you can choose the path that you walk. Only you. Only you. I can give you these techniques, but you have to use them and you have to work with them. We have to decide to help ourselves to have a better experience in life. You do. I grew up in a church. And then Sharon and I, we traveled and preached revivals, and we'd see other evangelists, kind of like on the circuit. And what I noticed in the church and in the churches that we preached in, especially with the revivals, and they'd have one evangelist after another, is that everybody was looking for someone else to change the path of their life. Everyone. They had been trained to think that the evangelist is the only one that can heal me. No, he can't heal you. They were taught that if you give so much money, then that preacher would bless you and you'd get so much money back. No, it doesn't work that way. Man, I know it's quiet in here. I hope it's not quiet out there. But we watched that. And then when we pastored, and every once in a while we'd have an evangelist, but it was always pretty difficult because, especially in Rockford, Illinois, you had my father-in-law and you had myself, both preaching. And that meant if we had an evangelist, he better be able to cut it, because these people have been sitting under the best. But you know what I noticed, Sharon? I noticed a lot of times that they used to call people out, what you call them out, and prophesy over them. And I started noticing that the same people, from revival to revival, they were the same ones that got called out. And the preacher would go, the evangelist would go, "You're healed." And then I noticed the next evangelist, that maybe in a few weeks or a few months, will come on, he'd call them out, and he'd go, "You're healed." And I think I told Sherry once or twice, I said, you know what? I don't know how many times they can be healed of the same thing. Why? Because they weren't getting it. The healing has to come from within. Folks, let me tell you something as I close this morning. Your healing is within you. I read an article this week that I really liked, and it was a scientific article that our bodies were made to heal itself. So why are we taking all these medicines? Our bodies was created to heal themselves. A lot of you in financial straits, and you can blame inflation, or you can blame Donald Trump, or you can blame Joe Biden and his entire team. You can blame everybody else, but the truth of the matter is, you have the power of wealth within you. Look in the Bible. Look at the greatest success textbook ever written. And see how in times of famine, in times of want, people would overcome it by looking within themselves. And they would have when others would not. Not because God loved one more than the other. He gave us all the same ability. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this time of teaching today, and I ask that these words rest in their hearts. Let the God in them become alive. Let it become in their attitude. Let it become their everyday thinking in their life. And I know on your word that they will fulfill happiness, joy, success, finances, and healing. Your word says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Let us start thinking in the ways of prosperity. I'll give you all the praise. Amen. God love you. I love you. Our Christmas tree, and I better say this because I have to deal with Sherry afterwards. We're in a work of progress here. Sherry didn't even want me to do this until they got the tree done. So it is a work of progress. Somebody said, I can't believe you celebrate Christmas with that pagan holiday and everything. Let me just say this. Sherry, can I say this before you shut me off?
Sure.
All right. We were pastoring somewhere. I don't remember what church. We had a family that came to us and told us that I'm really disturbed that you celebrate Christmas. And I said, I want to tell you something. If there's one day of the year that you can get everybody else thinking about giving to someone else, I'm for it. I'm for it. I don't care what pagan holiday it came from. If there's one day of the year that you can get folks to think about giving to others. So God love you. I love you. Sherry loves you. God bless America.
Thank you, Stacy B., for noticing the tree. And Misty, thank you for supporting Pink Journey Foundation this week.
Yes, and there was
Tuesday.
other people that also did. God love you.